We'll see how that affects them here. Bans coming in. Lux, Jarvan, Malphite so far.
Malphite one really sticks out to me as an interesting ban. We did see it used yesterday on Wicked. It wasn't that successful, though, I have to say. It was in a 1v1 lane versus a Kha'Zix, but the Lux coming in against Froggen, and of course Yushe can play that as well, and the Jarvan being taken away from Maluna. We know Snoopy's actually been playing him quite a bit, but he's going to go ahead and concede that. And of course the Draven following it up over to Hosan, and the Shen being taken away. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the Zed or potentially a Kha'Zix dropped right here.
Why you no banning Nivea against Froggen? Let's see how that one all plays out.
I mean, he's negative, if I remember correct. He's 2-3. He has 2 wins, 3 losses on him so far in the season.
Yeah, but
that's a comfort champion.
But
I mean,
yeah, that's a comfort champion, and you know it's it's Froggen. So we'll have to see about that one, as Elise was the final ban there. And first pick Lulu, and Zed is there. Wicked obviously heard about that video and say, you know, don't max your Q, you gotta max your E. I'll show you how to play it. Well, he's not gonna be able to show him how to play it. There's Zed and Thresh, 2 very strong picks coming in first for EG.
There's a problem though I see with this. We know Shushe plays a lot of Kayle. So you have a Kayle and a Lulu on the same team. If they want to go for that combo, it will shut Zed's ultimate down. It will pretty much mitigate all of that damage. And then you'll have the knockup and the health from Lulu on top of that. But we do see that Thresh locked in. And Crepo, we know how good he is on that Thresh. We'll see if he can maybe promote from the Prince to the King this time. And that Nidalee will get locked in. Okay, so they are going to leave that Kayle alone, unless they want to see it in the jungle. And as you see, wow. So we're going to have a jungle Nunu here. Syna was the only one to be that actually plays him quite a bit, but Maluna finally going to be locking that in. I'm curious to see what 80 carries they're going to be going for now, because they have a double steroid for him.
Yeah, this is interesting in terms of Dragonborns have played Nidalee in the bottom lane.
They have.
Instead of an AD
But
carry.
that was with the Soraka, though. That's what I'm worried about.
Well, I would love to see many bananas making an appearance here. I'd be definitely sure about that one. Froggen here actually hovering over Victor first of all, and just generally trolling as he goes through. But there is Lee Sin currently, which, you know, we don't see enough Lee Sin. Hopefully Dyrus does in fact shave his hair and plays only Lee Sin over in NA. That would make me a happy person. But it looks like Volibear, Misfortune too. Strong picks again for EG. We've seen that Volibear, you know, he's a very highly contested champion in the jungle. And Misfortune likewise on the other side as the AD carry, one of the most popular at this stage.
So the thing about Volibear is, which we've had Snoopy talk about quite a bit, is that he needs that mobility to get in there. He needs that movement speed to catch someone. So if you take Flash, you can kind of get around that. But he's against a team that has double slows against you. It's going to be really hard for you to get in there and get that initiate flip. So, you know, to me, it's not like the strongest pickup. Maybe someone who has that automatic in would be a little bit better. But we'll see how well he works with this this Volibear. And then, of course, Yellow Peak going to be on Misfortune against a team that has double slows, against a team that has the attack speed reduction out of Nunu. He's going to have a tough time really, you know, being safe this entire game. But we'll see if Thresh can do that for him.
All right, now Dragonborn's hovering over the Kog'Maw, of course, the Draven band here against Hosan. So it's looking like we're not going to see that cheesy strategy of the Nidalee in the bottom lane, which worked out for them in one game. They played it again.
They beat EG with
a game after, exactly. And, you know, maybe trying to bring that back in here. But with that Kog'Maw, looks like we won't see that. And a Janna as well.
Are they doing a 4 support team with the Kog'Maw? I mean, it's kind of like in the end a 4 support, but they might be running an AP Janna here. I'm just curious to see who it gets traded to, if it'll be in the mid or top lane.
Nunu. My favorite thing to play.
It's the most
actually,
annoying
saw
thing.
Ocelot playing that on his stream as well, playing AP Nunu in the middle lane. So
we saw SOAS as well.
Change. Yeah.
So it always a possibility.
Is a thing. So let's have a look at EG then. See what they're going to lock in last. They've got Zed. You'd probably think for that top lane, Wicked. But also, of course, could be in the middle lane with Froggen. You've got the bottom lane of Thresh, Misfortune, and the Volibear for the jungle. So let's see what EG going to lock in here for their final choice.
Renekton is available right now. We know how much Wicked likes playing him. Shen is taken away from him, so he can't go for that. We know Wicked can play Zed. We know Froggen can potentially play Zed. But I'm assuming that would definitely be going on Wicked. So as you were talking about the bird being open, it looks like they might go for it. And that helps Snoopy out in a couple of ways, because it can cut someone off, so they're going to have to flash over the wall, or it'll make it so he'll get a guaranteed flip every time. So it's a really nice workaround to help with the Volibear being slowed consistently.
So what are Dragonborn's going to do here in terms of switches? Right now they're holding Lulu for that middle lane, and
God, they're just doing this to troll on purpose.
No idea where they're going to go.
Well, here, I can go this route then. We've seen a lineup similar to this before. It was Taipei Assassins or Type A Sniper. I think it was Assassins in GPL. They ran a 4 support team with a Vayne. So they had a Taric, they had a Lulu, they had, I believe, a Janna, and I can't remember the fourth. I cannot remember who it was. Maybe a Lulu. It was just a 4th support, though. So they just did a protect the Vayne kind of composition, and they're kind of running something similar to that right now. Shushi will obviously had a lot of damage with his spears since he will be AP.
And I'm very, very excited to see how this one all plays out. Talk us through level 1 in this crazy setup, Jason.
Well, level 1, if anything, it will be EG going for it. Dragonborns doesn't really have a nice team for it since they have... It's basically 4 supports. Well, no, sorry, it's basically 3 supports, and then you have a Nidalee, which, if we look at his abilities, is going to be going AP, so you will have those spears coming in. And then Shushe, who is running an AD Kog'Maw in the mid lane, or, you know, mid lane, quotes. So EG is going to be the one to go for an invade here if they want to. It looks like they will commit to it. And Dragonborns can't really defend against this.
They've taken that wall down as well, which is an important pickup early on here from Evil Geniuses. There's another ward down on the blue buff. So EG's position has been spotted here. Yamato kind of just waiting inside of the tri-bush to see if anything happens. And from EG's side, it was a case of getting the wards down, getting that vision up around blue so that they can see exactly where Maluno's going to be. Yep.
And that's great control. It gives you the vision, and that's what they're going to need to protect themselves from the ganks. Because he's a pretty good ganker because he's going to get that slow on you, and you pretty much have to commit something to get away. And I want to refer back to the video we heard with these two teams talking about each other. And Yamato was saying, you know, on Zed, you don't max Q. So when they saw the Zed left open, or they're assuming they left it open on purpose, they were assuming EG was going to pick it up, and it looks like he countered him with that Lulu. So they have a nice composition to work around the Zed ultimate with the extra health out of Lulu, the shield out of Janna, and then the heal out of Nidalee. So that's a really good workaround without having to go for kill, and it's a really weird composition. As you see, Shushe is going to be the AD carry with Mover as support.
See, this is one thing that we hardly ever see, is people really switching roles. We've seen how good Hosan is with Nidalee, and it looks like they've said, well, you're the better Nidalee player. We want to run Nidalee in the composition. Shushe going to go AD carry for this game. So really, really interesting stuff here to kick us off.
And the only one that's kind of similar to doing that is against Authority by switching Freddy 1-2-2 and Schleia in different lanes. Yeah. But it's not a complete different role like this. This is just ridiculous. But we'll see how well Shushe can play it. We already know how well, like you said, Hosan can play Nidalee. But it's going to come down to if Shushe can really hold his own in this lane.
So talk us through the lane here. Hosan actually just getting stunned up there by Froggen. I'm going to start with the top lane, and Zed versus Lulu.
I wish I could tell you how this lane would really go. I honestly can't that much. You never see this combo anymore. But I'll kind of, I guess, theorycraft it a little bit. And Lulu has a nice range harass. You have the shield to stop the damage from Wicked when he tries to harass you down. You do have the ultimate to pretty much keep yourself alive from the ult out of Wicked. So with that range harass, with the Glitter Lance to keep him slowed, you can do some really good poke against him, but he's running that 9 pots, 2 wards combo, so it's going to be hard to push him out of lane, if ever.
Really, really interesting start here from both sides. Let's see what Dragonborns can do with this bit off-the-wall combo that we're seeing coming out of them. There's in the bottom lane, we see Crepo just getting in range for the hook, and Kog'Maw going to be getting stronger as things go on, but needs to be really careful as the hook does land. They are going to go in on towards Shushe. There is a barrier use. Exhaust goes on to Yellow Pete as well, and Shushe just trying to turn it around to do some damage, but no first blood just yet.
Yeah, that's not off to a good start either, though, in that bottom lane. Being forced to pop the barrier and the exhaust on Dragonborn's side, they're not going to have that up the next time they do meet, and we know how strong Misfortune is. Kog'Maw doesn't really start to take off till about level 6, where he can kind of, butt heads evenly. And Joe, I had to look real quick again. Yamato Cannon doesn't have any AP, doesn't have any % armor pen or magic pen, so he's pretty much like full defensive build.
Yeah, and obviously you can see there with that Total Biscuit in there as well that he's going in heavily into that utility tree as well. So where is the action going to come down here first? We see Snoopy in the jungle of Dragonborns. Is he going to make his presence felt in this middle lane, just going over the ward there in that curve brush? But we are going to see Maluno coming down now on towards this bottom lane. The slow goes in onto Yellow Pete, but Dragonborn's not really coordinating for that one.
Yeah, just like he wants to get his presence known. Shushe is way too low at this point. He only has a Doran's Blade, so that's going to be the only source of health regen he's going to get back. Obviously auto-attacking the minions, but he just wants to make his presence known. Wants to make him a little bit afraid to back off, maybe ward that tri-bush up, but they're not even afraid, as you're seeing. They're like, hey, okay, you came in, but you didn't really do anything against us. Shushe is way too low. And we might see the first one actually come in where Snoopy decides to go, because how are you going to escape a bear with Ghost at this point? I mean, Lulu's the only one that can really do anything against it because of the flash and the Glitter Lance, but that mid lane is very susceptible to that.
Yeah, we'll see how Nidalee holds up to that one. Right now, Hosan is level 5. So not quite got that Cougar form, which obviously brings a lot more mobility with it once he does hit level 6. Froggen only just hitting level 5 there. The difference in CS actually in favor of Froggen. We know how Froggen can farm, you know, his mechanics in that sense are very, very strong, and Hosan's going to have a hard time to force him off it.
And I like what we saw sooOn do. He actually went back pretty early on just to go pick up an item and heal up. Actually, well, I had to change my scoreboard around because it's really awkward to see, but he picked up a Doran's boots right there to help you know, deal with how fast Misfortune is. But Misfortune does have that Vamp Scepter, so any rest that goes down is going to be healed up quite easily. Not to mention the shield you have coming out of Crepo. I'm so far not a fan just yet of sooOn on AD carry, but like I said, Kog'Maw doesn't take off till 6, and that's where we'll really see if he can play AD carry well.
Well, you know, sooOn is a man who, for Fnatic, he was swapped out of that middle lane role and put into the top lane. Didn't really do too well in that one, and that's, you know, the point where he ended up being removed from the team, being benched from that one. And since then has been playing middle lane for, you know, in various different teams. So really interested to see how he does on this side of things. Definitely, you know, has the skills. I mean, these guys play these different roles on a daily basis anyway when they, you know, hitting the solo queues. We see Snoopy there in the jungle just getting more vision down. So EG putting a big emphasis on what they can see in this game.
And they're going to try to deny that blue buff away from Hosan. We see this happen every time. When you run an AP Nidalee, if you deny her those blue buffs, she won't be able to siege you that well. She won't be able to stay in lane that easily. So if they can take that away and get Froggen his own blue, Froggen will have a ginormous advantage in his lane.
There, Dragonborn's actually headed back off to pick up golems here, so indicating that they feel a need for that extra bit of CS experience and gold coming out. As we see Crepo there almost winding up for the grab, but this stage, as you said, you know, we've not seen anything impressive out of sooOn, but he is level 5 and he is Kog'Maw, so you can't really expect too much coming from him from that point, as Movet does gonna get the ward down outside of the Dragon Pit from this stage, but a very stale start to the game, you know. No real presence from the junglers. We've seen Nunu in the bottom lane, in the top lane once, but honestly, not more than that.
Yeah, and that's what I was just thinking about, is that when Dragonborns were actually winning, they had this very chaotic playstyle, very aggressive playstyle early on, but they seem to switch into this passive playstyle now, and teams are better able to deal with it.
There is Froggen getting slowed. Can they actually get in there for the kill? It's a lot of damage coming down as the stun will land on towards Maluno. He just chomps down on the minion and says, well, all my health is back. Thank you very much.
I'm actually glad he didn't go AP Nunu. That's one of the most frustrating things to go up against in lane. You cannot move him at all. That we'll see how well it works out in the jungle. That Blood Boil can be very nice to give to Kog'Maw. So sooOn, he can pretty much afford to go for his Infinite Edge right away and delay that attack speed over and over. Maybe pick up a Zeal and leave it at that so he has some sort of crit, but Hosan actually get caught here.
Yeah, gonna get caught. Actually flashes away there from the stun, and that was the move that's actually saved his life right there. I mean, he did use that flash obviously to get away, but without that, if that stun had landed, that was a dead Hosan. And Snoop is now stealing away the blue.
Yeah, because they got him a little bit low right there, and they forced him to blow that flash. It's a very easy blue steal for Snoopy right now. But we do have Maluno coming in around the side, and he might be able to steal away with the consume, might be able to steal away with the smite.
Oh, Snoopy actually smiting a little bit earlier. They're going to get the fling on towards Maluno. Wild Growth comes down from Lulu, but will it be enough? Yes, Maluno gets away. And now Yamato Cannon chasing in here. Froggen comes around from the side. No first blood just yet, and we're approaching that 10-minute mark.
So that was exactly what EG needed to do. Perfect play on their part. And we're going to see them pick up.
Jump through that.
Yeah, you can. I was watching that too. But they're going to lock down their own blue, hopefully here, give it over to Froggen, who has that tier. And this is pretty much a step-by-step play of what you have to do to beat Dragonborns at this position. Is just keep those blues away, keep Nidalee under-farmed, keep the pressure on sooOn, and you will be able to win the game.
And Yellow Pete doing a very solid job of it. He's doing a very much Yellow Pete thing, which is playing extremely solid. He's currently ahead by a good chunk of CS as well. Froggen ahead a little bit. Top lane, 30 CS difference almost for Wicked over Yamato Cannon.
You see 2 cloth armors picked up for him on top of that, so he really doesn't want to be killed at all. You see Wicked with that BF sword, he's trying to potentially go for a kill here. I mean, he can get Yamato Cannon a little bit low, but with that Philo Stone, with those shields, with the ultimate, he's able to keep himself alive long enough. And we do have sooOn level 6 now, so we should see a different swing happen here, where he's going to be the aggressor, and Yellow Pete's going to play a little bit defensive.
talk to us about the late game here, Jason, because now,
that'll have to wait, Joe.
We are going to see the box go down here. sooOn actually having to flash away as the bullet time comes in, but Mover is the one going very, very low. Can they get in there for the finisher? Flash from Yellow Pete. There is the first blood. 9 minutes and 50 seconds into the game, and it is going to go over to the Misfortune as the spear comes in. sooOn regenerate up that awesome passive.
So you're asking about the late game of that, Joe, and you know, a Kog'Maw right there just shows you that they're going to be going for late game potential. They have the support to keep him alive. They want to just like, hey, protect this Kog'Maw, let him do all the damage. Yeah, the support, not to say it plural way. They have the ability to keep him alive, but the thing is, if they can't make it to late game, then it's not going to matter in the end. They have to be able to drag the game out long enough, but with EG's setup, like they can burst someone down very quickly with Wicked if they if Dragon Lords can't get the items they need to keep them alive, and then EG can just stop over them before they get that power or that really strong power level.
Hausan here trying to farm up the best he can underneath his turret as we see Wicked waiting in the brush there. Maybe going to go in. He is going to go in on towards Yamato Cannon. Does he have the damage? And, well, quite frankly, no, not just yet. That armor, the double cloth armor is obviously really helping out here at the start for Yamato.
So in the end, it looks like he will be backing away. So, I mean, the damage is done. If he stays, he could potentially be dove on. Not up just yet for Wicked, but, I mean, that's all he has to do is if he keeps pushing him out of lane where he has a 30 CS, actually 40 CS advantage at this point, he's just going to keep snowballing that lane, and he will eventually get to the point where he can kill Yamato Cannon with that ult.
Yeah, and I think the next cooldown with that Ignite is definitely something that he may think about going for here. He needs to be careful that the jungler isn't present, as Repo gonna hook up the minion. Gets that lantern down as well, just to gift that shield over to Yellow Pete and himself.
Look at sooOn yet again, putting another, or sorry, he wasn't putting a ward, just clearing the camp real quick just to get a timer on it, but he's been really trying to focus on controlling that blue. Instead of going around in the links to gank, except that first blood we saw bottom, he's been really just trying to deny as much of the bus and farm to DB as possible.
So Crepo almost landing the hook on towards sooOn. It was max range, which didn't quite go down. There is Wicked. He's showing his dominance in this lane, to be honest. I mean, he's way ahead in CS. He's taken the turret down now, and that's going to allow him to move a little bit more freely around the map and, you know, become that annoyance that Zed can be.
And apparently maxing that Q was enough to pretty much win the lane over Yamato Cannon right there.
Yeah, don't max your Q, Wicked. Yeah. If you listen to Yamato Cannon, who's lost his lane there against Wicked on Zed after calling him out for it. But right now, EG, you know, they have a gold lead. It's not the biggest, but 1,000 gold with that first blood, with the first turret coming in. We've seen no dragon attempts as of yet, but something tells me that that's on the cards here shortly, with Wicked having taken down that top turret.
Yeah, and the thing is, they're only, you know, like you said, up 1,000 gold, but look where their farm is, and look where their gold is. It's on to Zed, who has 120 CS. It's on to Anivia, who's winning his lane, and Yellow Pete, who's winning his lane as well, and has that first blood. So the gold they do have is over to their carries, and that is just going to only benefit them as we go on.
So Dragon here is going to be the target. EG moving in. There are wards down from Dragonborns, but not sure that it's going to mean that much. Nidalee here going to wait with that spear, get the max range that he possibly can there on towards the Dragon. Will he be able to do anything with it? There comes the spear. Actually, he's hit sooOn. There's a Howling Gale coming across as well, but Dragon will be smited down by sooOn in the end. There's half of Froggen's health gone from the spear. Needlessly large rod in there now means those spears are dangerous, and there's going to be a lot of ooh.
Yeah, I just realized how much I've missed AP Nidalee, but we do have engage on the bottom. sooOn being very aggressive on the Yellow Pete.
Yeah, Yellow Pete having to use his barrier there. The bullet time completely off target there. And now they're going to go in through the box. And actually, they didn't pop any of the walls. That was smartly done, actually, by Dragon Lords. They just stayed in the middle of that box. As tempting as it is to just try and get out of it, much like the baby cage, I think Riv called it, of Viger.
I like that term. Yeah, but that was what we were talking about before, how Misfortune will win the lane early on against Kog'Maw, but once he hits that 6 point, he should be able to push her out, or at least you know, go head-to-head against her. And looking at sooOn's health compared to Yellow Pete's, he completely won that exchange.
Yeah, really dominating performance there. But how is it going to go as the game progresses? We've now got a 3-man push. It's Janna, Lulu and Cogwall pushing down on towards this turret. As Hoosan actually going to get engaged upon here by Wicked. The flash is going to be burnt. There's a snowball coming out of Maluno, but the hook actually going to land here on towards Shushay. He's pulled underneath the turret. He's going to die, but Willie with the passive here managed to get Snoopy. No, he's not, because the Ignite of Yamato Cannon actually picks up the kill. Movement was very, very low there as well. And EG doing so well for a 3-on-2 fight.
Yeah, and at what cost? It was a 1-for-1 trade, but then you had Wicked pushing that top lane because Lulu was down there. Get a little bit of damage onto, or actually got the lane pushed up quite far. Dragonborn was able to secure their own blue over to Hosan. Or no, it wasn't over to Hosan. Oh, okay, Maluno actually did take on Axe. I believe it was a red buff still.
And obviously it was a 3 versus 3 fight, which I'm completely lying about when I said they did so well for a 3 versus 2, because obviously Snoopy died at the back.
Yeah, but still, I mean, it was. Considering it was just Shushay, the only damage dealer down there against Yellow Pete and Snoopy, who can both do pretty good damage. Even Thresh, as long as he waits for that auto attack. But still, I mean, that blue knock over to Hosan, that was a mistake on Dragonborn's side. That is not what you want to have. Even when Hosan's not going for like mana regen, really. Yeah, he has 2 Doran's rings, but it's not as good as, you know, a Tyr or a Chalice.
There is Snoopy actually going to be having that blue buff given over towards Froggen. Easily done, using the smite as well there to really get it down early on. So 2-1, 2,000 gold lead at this point. Obviously, thanks to that 2-0 turret lead, plus the dragon that's come in there as well for Evil Geniuses. But Dragonborns, you know, they're not doing a bad job up until now. The thing is, they're going to be getting stronger as things go on as well. Yeah. So really hard one to call at this stage.
Yeah, even with Yamato Cannon, he's building a Warden's Mail and a Glacial Shot. So he's going for that Frozen Heart. I mean, I can't remember the last time I saw Lulu ever build something like that. He's not even going AP, so he's going really defensive. He's basically their tank right now. He just wants to be in the middle of the fight. But Shushay, I mean, he has a Zill, he has a Build Water Cutlass. He's trying to go into that Blade of the Rune King and also a Static Shiver Phantom Dancer for that attack speed, since he has that double attack speed buff. But we'll see if that works out enough in the end, because, you know, as the game goes on, he's going to get stronger. But if he can't get to that point, it's not going to matter.
That was a strong push again from Froggen on towards Hosan. Got him relatively low from that one as well, as Yamato kind of comes back into this top lane. He's currently 2 levels behind Wicked, by the way. We should point that one out. Obviously the Last Whisper plus that BF sword in there. Frozen Heart is now finished for Yamato Cannon as well, and it looks like Dragonborn's going to be trying to push his bottom lane out again.
They've had 3 members of DB down there for quite a long time. I mean, it wasn't Maluno this time, it was Lulu, but still, they're committing a lot of resources down there. In the meantime, Wicked's still pushing top lane, Froggen still being aggressive mid lane, winning that lane at this point. I mean, Stoopy's just sitting there like, yeah, that's okay, I'll get some free experience, maybe a couple CS. As long as I stop your push, our other lanes are going to be pushing you down, and we're going to win this exchange.
That's exactly how it's shaping up at this stage, as we are going to see the hook coming in there on towards Mover. Have they got the damage here to finish him off with 3 men? The box is down. Mover actually putting the Monsoon in there, but it won't be enough to save his life. Crepo secures the kill.
Great play by EG right there to pick up that nice snipe with that Q. Crepo, as you said, secured that kill, but great play overall. We see Monica might get caught here with this wall from Anivia.
Oh, great wall coming out of Froggen. Puts a wild growth on himself, but can Froggen chase him down? Anivia not the speediest, but he's got a flash as he comes in there. The ulti ticks will finish it off. And there is the danger. You know, you talked about his record not being the best on Anivia, but it's still Froggen on Anivia.
Very true. I mean, that was so well played by them both. And they should be able to secure that top turret if they want to go for it, though. We have Wicked heading towards the mid lane, might be sneaking down towards this bottom side. They've been at this turret for so long. I think it's been about 5 minutes, and they've been unable to take it. It's only down about half health.
Yeah, not the most successful expenditure of time right now. As the bullet time comes out just to clear the wave out there from Yellow Pete. Obviously, want to keep as much pressure as they can away from that turret. Wicked and Froggen now getting themselves here. And that is going to be a very, very dead Janet. Nice stun coming out. And systematic destruction at this point from EG. I mean, they're going from A to B, as we are going to see the flash in there. Crepo going to be bringing Snoopy in thanks to that Lantern. Shushay going very low. Full channel of the ulti coming out of Nunu. Yellow Pete using the barrier here. Will that be enough to keep him alive? No, it's a passive from Cogmore that actually gets him the kill. And that was the second kill of the game coming out of Dragonborn. 6-2. Turret going down now in that top lane. The inner turret, bottom outer turret is surely not going to last long either, as Wicked being pushed on there by Yamato Cannon and Nidalee, and he's going to go for the suicide. But
Bluebird to the catch-up.
Oh,
maybe.
He's flashed away from it, but Nunu's actually there. Why did Maluno not come up? He's going to get there just in time. Ah, but Mumu got the I got very excited about that one.
But in the end, he stalled them long enough for EG to pick up that bottom turret. So they got 2 turrets in the end for that for 1 death. Actually, no, sorry, 2 deaths and 1 kill for EG right there. Great trade overall. But I really don't know what DragonBirds is doing. They've committed so much time to that bottom turret still. I want to keep harping on that because it's a really key point. You can't let Zed and Froggen just split push on you the entire time or group up and have these 2v1 situations, which you've had a couple of times.
So where do we stand in the game overall? 5,000 gold basically is the difference. Not quite, but close enough to call it that. 63 in kills, 4-0 in towers though. That's the real big deficit that Dragonborns have got, but they are making something work out here as they push down the outer turret. That's their first turret though of the game.
We do have items. I mean, they're starting to finally develop, but we look over on EG's side. So let's just go over there for a little bit. We have Wicked, who has a Bloodthirster and a Last Whisper. We have the Runic Bulwark already picked up for Snoopy. We have an Archangel Staff and a Haunting Guys already done for Froggen. And then you have a Bloodthirster, Last Whisper combo for Yellow Pete. So they have many completed items. You see Dragon Starter right now. It looks like Dragonborns will be able to lock it down. But, you know, on the other side of the team, we have Yamato Ken, only has a Frozen Heart and 2 GP10. You have Maluno in the jungle with an Aegis and 1 GP10. And then you have Hosan with no completed item just yet. You see Shushay with no completed item just yet, but you do at least have the Ruby Sightstone out of Movert. So they're just behind in general, and they need to pick up some items. They haven't caught off guard because they're going for that middle push, and they can't even come through that bush because Froggen will just wall them out. They're going to have to get back to base.
That positioning from EG is just sublime. They're like, well, you're taking Dragon, but at what cost? We're going to completely zone you off here. If you try and come through, we're going to engage, or even just get the wall in as Crepo is going to land the hook on towards Hosan. The box went down. The 2 walls popped out of it there as Crepo taking a lot of damage, but the stun comes on towards Hosan. There is bullet time coming across them. They've taken the Indian turret, but at what cost now as Dragonborn's starting to turn around, and Froggen is going to get egged, but is that going to be enough? Wicked off towards the side, trying to get in on towards Hosan. Bit of a chaotic fight so far as a lantern comes down, and that will be no kills at all coming out of that fight, at least for now. That may change here, but no kills. EG losing Dragon, but taking those 2 middle turrets.
Yeah, like you said, it was just all about that position, all about having that Anivia. That displacement you get from that terrain modifier is just so devastating. They could not get a path to get back and chill on base, and when they tried to, they would end up getting caught by stuns, end up getting caught by Crepo, as I saw right there. They had to go back to base and get back in, but an open inhibitor now, when they didn't have, I mean, I'd say not much of a lead. In the end, it really wasn't that big of a lead, but having that middle lane completely wide open just gives them so many more strategies they can go for.
Got to be worrying times here for Dragonborns, who are 0 for 11 in their last 11 games. Don't have to be a mathematical genius to realize that that is not the best run that could have happened here for the Dragonborns. This roster change is obviously not fixing what they were intended to, but also takes a little bit of time. We've talked about that a lot. And Dragonborns, you know, they need to find their stride here. An interesting combo that they've come for in this game, but so far, EG having the better of it. Yeah,
I mean, I will give Dragonborns credit. They're trying new strategies, very, very ballsy strategies. I mean, it may not work out, but it shows where they're trying to do some really new things. And a lot of teams really don't do that. They stick in their comfort zone, and that's where they play until they maybe lose a lot of games, and they are forced to rework it. But Dragonborns has always been one of those teams that will always catch us casters off guard, even other teams, at what they're going to play. Just like that Nilly Soraka bot lane combo we see now with this force support. Anything can really happen with them.
Oh, double ward there coming out from Crepo and Froggen. Not the best communication, but I suppose 2 wards are better than 1 in the end. More vision and stuff like that. As Wicked here is continuing to split push, actually going for that inner turret in the bottom lane. Dragonborns actually turn around here. I'm going to try and take this outer, the inner turret in that middle lane as Maluno gets the snowball off, but he's taking a lot of damage there for the pleasure as they do back away. Wicked has managed to take down 1 Yamato cannon, going very, very low. He's stood inside the Anivia ultimate. And blocked by the minions there as well, I think. But look at Wicked. He's still going through here. The minion's going to come in here and help him out. He finally, I was going to say he finally decides to back away, but honestly, he's done a lot of work here for EG.
Yes, he has. And the thing was that Dragonborns was trying to get that second tier turret, but Yellow Pete used his ultimate to clear that way because they knew Froggen had blue, and they knew once he got there was no way Dragonborns could push in there. So it's a great play for them to stall as long as possible. They almost even turned it around into a kill or 2, and then Wicked getting that bot lane turret. And
what is Movert doing? Apart from dying, a horrible positioning there from Movert, and now we see Wicked getting in. There's a box from Crepo as well. Shushay gonna get exploded from this one as he goes over to Froggen. Is the egg available? No, it's not. He will die instantly there. And that is a 2-for-1, but again, we see the importance of Wicked Zed, and after Yamato kind of called him out about how he's building Zed, honestly, Wicked has brought the pain.
Yeah, I was really expecting him to shut him down.
100 CS lead that he has, by the way, over Lulu right now.
And the thing is, like Lulu went pretty much full, well, I say full support in quotations again, but you know, he's very tanky with, it was like a 21-9 kind of build just so he can survive, but what benefit has it given his team? I mean, yeah, you give the ultimate to Shushay, he gets some extra help, but with the damage EG has, with the control they have, it doesn't really do anything in the end.
Yeah, probably a different champion, you know, at the end of the day would have been a better choice from Yamato Cannon. He claims that he can play pretty much everything that's out there, and obviously showing that here as he brings a Lulu to the table, but it's not been that successful.
Well, yeah, the only problem is you can play every champion, but can you do it on the competitive level? That's the real thing, and I don't think we've seen yet one champion he has been able to, unfortunately.
I wouldn't go that far. Well, I mean, Yamato Cannon is definitely a very, very good player, very accomplished, very experienced. And it's hard to judge his performance when they're on a 0-11 streak.
Well, yeah, let me rephrase what I said then. At least in his the compositions he has to run with, the champions he has to pick, it hasn't really been like on a competitive level to me. I think it's a little bit better.
Yeah, a little bit. Why you gotta flame Yamato Cannon, Jason?
Well, I don't mean to, but I mean, it's just there to see.
Yeah, but again, like I said, I mean, 0 for 11, it's really hard to see or to call someone, you know, good or not so good right now in terms of how they're going. But the record also speaks for itself in a way, you know. If they were performing better, they wouldn't be 0 for 11 at this point of things. As EG here invading the jungle, you see the lantern down there from Crepo, and these wards just designed to strangle Dragonborns, make sure that they stay locked up inside of their own jungle, inside of their own base, sorry. And EG can control everything as Snoopy is going to take a spear. Obviously the death cap now with the sorcerer shoes and a second blasting one picked up by Hosan in that middle lane. And also not been super impressed with the way this whole switching of roles has gone for Dragonborns.
I'd have to agree. Shushay, I mean, he's not as aggressive as Hosan can be on an AD carry. I mean, that's what you have to do to really catch people off guard. Ooh, the hook just missing right there. But, you know, it's still nice to see them trying that. It's still nice to see them trying to adapt and change things around. And right now, EG, I mean, this is straight out of a playbook. They have the mid inhibitor down. They're just waiting for the wave to push in. They'll get some damage on the turret. They'll back off. They'll keep doing that for about 10 minutes, and then they'll finally get the turret.
And then they'll back off.
Then they'll back off.
Typical EG style, but they are going to be looking here for this turret takedown, as we are going to see the lock coming in there on towards Yamato Cannon. Uses a wild growth on himself. There is absolute zero coming out of Maluno, and it does exactly what it says on the tin. Absolute zero to the AG side that we're pushing in.
And Wicked had his ultimate available the entire time, didn't use it even in that ignite. They most likely would have, actually they would have picked up a kill on Maluno if they wanted to. Instead, they're going to back away. They have Dragon available to take. They have Baron as well. And they have an okay amount of gold to spend. Yellow Pete's sitting on about 1,000 gold, so we'll be able to pick up his Phantom Dancer.
Sorry, just laughing at Shushay trying to last hit under the turret and failing miserably at that one. In the meantime, like I said, Dragon going to be taken off here by EG. Wicked just waiting here to push this bottom lane out. And now, this is one of the strengths of Zed. He is very, very good at that split push.
I have to say, though, I mean, Joe, let's take a look at the kills in towers. So it's 8-4 in kills for EG, 7-1 in turrets, and I think it's 2-1 in dragons. And yet they're only up about 6,000 gold. And that's that gold per second just ticking in and just chipping away at the lead that EG has. You know, they have the GP10, they have the GP10 masteries on top of that, maybe even ruined. And it's really doing a lot of work. We've seen Overpow actually on a Nexus do this before, back when we casted, I believe it was EMS or EPS, and he ran Fiddlesticks mid with GP10, was never in lane, but still had more gold than his counterpart.
Yeah, and that just shows the power, and I think it's a really testament to, you know, how the game is right now, that those kind of things can work out for you. That Runes and Masteries are a massive, massive part. As EG now going to be going in for the Baron. To be honest, Dragonborn's absolutely nowhere near Froggen taking away the blue. Wicked still pushing that bottom lane out. This is going to be a freebie. And
Wicked is level 18. We have to kind of point that out. He's just been pushing non-stop, just saving up his gold till he can buy something big. And like I said, EG will pick up that Baron, and we should see a nice push coming in from them onto the top or that bottom turret. I'm assuming it will be top since we have Wicked bottom, and he can 1v1 anyone at this point. That's why you have to take Zed away. If you ever try to duel him one-on-one, you're gonna lose, so you have to send 2 people at him. It's like almost a singe nowadays. Like, you can never kill him one-on-one. You have to send multiple people, and it's always a distraction, allowing, you know, the other team to push other lanes on you.
Now as a pink ward put down, this Yamato kind of getting very, very low. The hook from Thresh not quite landing. The stun coming in from Froggen as well. That didn't hit its target. Dragonborn's here being sieged on all fronts. Wicked, surprise, surprise, he's still pushing that bottom lane out, and he could well take the turret here. In fact, I think he is going to, because Lulu's nowhere near. There's the second inhibitor turret of the game going down. And honestly, Yamato kind of needs to be so careful here, because Wicked, if he goes in, will kill him.
Yeah, and they couldn't even send someone down there to deal with them. That's the problem. They don't have the wave clear on anyone. The only person that could probably do it is Hosam, but he'd have to be in his Cougar farm, where he's very susceptible for Wicked to kill him 1v1. And they had to let it go.
Yeah, you see, like, what are you going to do against him? What are you going to do against Wicked?
You can't do anything. And the thing is, they're going to have to make a play. If they lose this inhibitor, it's pretty much the game lost as well. They have to go in, even if they're most likely going to lose that fight, because they'll lose the game just from super minions pushing.
Gonna have to fight here, Dragonborns, at some point. As again, Yamato Cannon takes the damage. He is very, very low. Has to go back onto the fountain to get those heals off his Hosan. Gonna come out there with those home guard boots on, but you know, the regen that Baron's giving them as well, it's just means they can just stay all day long. Bloodthirst, of course, on Yellow Peters. They are going to wall in Maluno. He flashes away, though. And that Runic Bulwark is really helping against any kind of poke that Dragonborns is going to put out. Shusha's the only one that can do that, and his ult, I believe, is magic damage. Hosan does get hooked here. Were they going for it? Yeah, they should do, as the bullet time comes across as well. The Pox not quite in the best of positions. The stun going to land there onto both Maluno and Mover, but now EG, whilst not picking up kills there, they've done exactly what they wanted, which is force them away from this turret. Inhibitor number 3 is going to be taken here by EG. And they're going to back away, go buy out. If you look at gold for a second, we have 3,500 gold on Wicked right now to spend. We have 1,100 on Stoopy, 1,600 on Froggen, 1,500 on Yellow Pete, and even 1,200 on Crepo. When they come back, they're going to hurt so bad that there's nothing Dragonborns can do. I mean, I hate to say it as a caster, just say there's nothing they can do, but I think we could both agree. Unless EG throws it on purpose, they're not going to win a team fight. Right now, we've got double boots of swiftness on the EG team as well. One with Crepo on Thresh and one with Snoopy there on Volibear. That is a very fast bear. He's going to be charging at you. And look at the build there from Froggen as well. Haunting Guys, the Revolver, Zeraph's Embrace, and Lichbane. I want to finish the game right now. and it's Froggen too. Like, he builds anything he wants to because he can, because he's so far ahead. I mean, because he's Froggen. Oh yeah, that was his excuse always for why are you building Warmogs on Anivia? Because I'm Froggen. And perfectly well said. It's like, what are you going to say against that? Well, you can't. If he does it, it's obviously right. Yep. What can you say? So, EG now starting to close in again. There are no inhibitors left. These super minions going to be pushing in. And, you know, this is so textbook EG. Just take all the turrets, take all the inhibitors, take all the objectives, and then close in for that final stranglehold and finish the game. The problem with that is, I don't know if that's what's working for them anymore. I mean, it might work against Dragonborn since they have new members, or they have a new member and they're on a really bad, you know, streak, but against the other teams, it hasn't worked out. Yeah, I mean, they're not in the best form themselves, but this was a game that they absolutely could not afford to lose, that's for sure. And they are going to see the hook land in there onto a minion, and Maluno goes in, tries to do the damage. Snoopy will go down to Shushe. His passive not enough to regen him back up to full health. Maluno with Wild Growth on will die in the end, but this is going to be a lot of kills coming in for EG. In fact, they pick up pretty much everyone as Yellow Pete tries to get away from the Cogmore. There's another hook. The Nexus going to be focused down, and Evil Geniuses will continue the run of despair for Dragonborns, taking them down and giving them a 0-for-12 run here in their last games. I have to say, looking at EG though, they don't really look satisfied with that win. They were just all like, you know, they didn't feel